All right, guys, welcome back to the podcast. Really excited about our guest that we have here with us today. I have Spencer Hanks in the house. Spencer, welcome to the pod.
Thanks. It's awesome being here.
Yeah. Spencer and I have been buds for a very long time, dude. As I was like thinking about an intro for this, I was thinking about, we went to the same elementary school and we used to play football at recess, and Spencer was always one of the quarterbacks and I was the other quarterback, and we would like pick teams and then battle it out every day, and then went to the same junior high school. Anyway, I've always really loved Spence. We haven't stayed super close the last couple of years, really since high school and missions and stuff, but I've always admired Spencer. Spencer, I guess to intro him, has a very cool story. So he is like the Crumbl Cookie franchisee man. He has played a really big role in helping Crumbl scale to where they're at. He was roommates with Sawyer, who was one of the founders of Crumbl at Utah State.
Yep.
And asked Sawyer if he could be a franchisee, as Sawyer was like coming up with this idea and launching. He had like a couple, maybe 2 or 3 little shops at the time.
He had one store open in Logan.
Okay.
I kind of helped him. I did some marketing on campus.
Cool.
Helped him fold boxes and did some deliveries. I think he had the store open for a month when I asked him if I could open up my own shop.
So he said yes, and you and your dad partnered on one. And fast forward to today, Spencer has owned and operated 21 different Crumbl stores, has sold some of that portfolio now, but basically opened at some point 21 different locations across Utah, California, Indiana, and Ohio.
Yep.
And currently, most of his are in California and Ohio, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Sold a lot of the Utah ones and Indiana ones.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, massive success story. Like, those that are interested in franchising or just learning how to own and operate a business and create wealth doing that, I'm really excited about the value that I think Spence will be able to add today. So anyway, I guess one more thing in the intro. This is a very important piece, is that Spencer and I were like the only BYU guys in our friend group. It was a lot. All of our friends were Utah fans, and me and Spence had to we were like an ally partnership, had to stay true. So go Cougs.
It was a rough 10 years, but now,
dude.
Now the Cougs are.
When we were in high school, we were getting kicked in the teeth. Like, we were losing to those guys left and right.
Yeah.
But now our program's kind of coming around, dude.
It's changed.
Yeah. You
awesome.
You go to a bunch of games, right? I saw you were at a bunch of games last year.
Yeah, my dad got season tickets last year, so
Cool.
I try to go to almost all of them.
Yeah.
I go to some away games too.
Yeah, I know. I've seen that. You're committed, dude. I love that.
It's fun.
That's sweet. Last part of the intro is Spence is married. I actually know his wife. Their family grew up in my ward.
Yeah.
And she's a really awesome, cute girl. And then you have three kids.
3 little ones.
So Claire, the wife's Claire, and then what are your kids' names?
I got Leo, he's the oldest, and he's 4. And then Henry is 3, and Belle is 1.5.
Cool.
2 girls and a boy.
Sweet, dude.
Sorry, 2 boys and a girl.
2 boys and a girl.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. And they look just like you, dude.
Well, the girl looks like mom.
Does
the boys
she?
look like me. Yeah,
I love
she's
it.
got a little darker hair, darker eyes.
That's awesome. Yeah, the boys, you could like have 1 million people in a room and you could point out which ones are yours.
Exactly. Yep.
That like kind of white, like Nordic looking.
That's
yeah,
right.
That's awesome, dude. Okay, well, I guess getting into it, dude, tell the story of just like rooming with, the Crumbl man and how that whole thing came to be. I think it'd be cool if you just kind of told that story, and then we'll get into some questions.
Yeah. So he told me, this was going into our senior year. He told me about the idea the summer before. My mom actually made a cookie dough for him to try. It didn't. He ended up doing a different recipe, but and I thought it was a great idea. And he did some student body office at Utah State that I helped him out with, and so when he was working on this, I helped him. Like I said, I did some marketing on campus when school started. When he opened the store, I'd help fold boxes every once in a while and do some deliveries. But yeah, about a month, 6 weeks after he opened that first store in Logan, I just asked him, I said, hey, I want to open one by my house in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
And at that point, they didn't even know like if they were going to franchise, if they were going to do corporate. I mean, it was so new to them. They
Yeah.
were still figuring out how to
Yeah.
run the thing.
Right.
And
They were just owning and operating one location in
yeah,
Logan.
yeah, just the one.
Yeah.
And
Crazy. Fast forward to today. Are they the biggest? I would imagine they're like one of the
fastest growing.
Yeah, they
I
have
mean,
so many units now. How many units do they have?
like 1,100.
Yeah, so north of 1,000 units.
I mean, they just opened one in Mexico.
Yeah, dude. Oh, wow, that's cool. I mean, I've been all over the country for my work, and it's like every single metro spot, they're there.
Yeah,
like, yeah.
It is crazy thinking about like those early days,
Yeah,
and just how different and how much things have changed.
Yeah.
So
he says yes, or what?
So yeah, he was like, well, let me talk to my partner. I got on a FaceTime with his partner Jason, and they're like, yeah, man, just like we don't know what we're gonna do, but just go find a spot. And so I was like, all right. So I went back to Utah and I started looking. It was LoopNet, I think, was the app that I was using to try and find these spaces. During this time, I was also trying to find someone to help me with the money side of it because I didn't have any money. I was just graduating.
Yeah.
This was my last year in college. So I went to people in my ward. I went to like every bank. And I told them about this idea, and no one wanted to give me money. No one wanted to help me. Yeah. So I was like, well, I'm just going to have to try and figure it out.
Yeah.
Finally got my dad.
Wish you would have hit me up back in the day.
I know. I should have reached out to you. So I finally convinced my dad, and he's like, fine, I'll do it with you, but you're not going to get paid, and we don't start distributing any sort of money until you write me a check for whatever I give you. And he's like, you're going to do all the work, like build out everything. And I was like, yeah, all right, that's fine. Like, I need you to do this, so I'll do it.
So did you do some of the build out?
Yeah.
The actual, oh, really?
Yeah.
So you didn't hire out like to GCs in terms of the build out?
I mean,
some of it? You had
some of it we did have. We just had some like electrician come and do some of the bigger work. But I like build the cabinets with my dad. When we got the space, I took out the carpet, demoed some walls. Like,
that's awesome.
I did some of the plumbing. I built some of the, like, me and my dad did a lot. He helped me with a lot of it. So it was crazy. And then when we opened, it was me, and my sister was in high school at the time. So I just had her friends come, and there was like, I probably had 6 or 7 employees and then just me.
Cool.
And I just worked there all the time, just because at that time it was like we were open from 8 a.m. to midnight every day, except for Sunday. So I'd be there open to close, and it was, I think, exactly like 5 weeks after we opened, I wrote my dad a check.
Holy cow.
And he was like, so when are we going to do the next one?
Yeah, for real.
And then,
so you guys like just money hand over fist from the beginning.
Yeah.
How was there enough awareness for it to do that well? You know, because like me and you have talked a lot off camera. I'm opening this Quick Greens as a franchisee, so I've leaned on you and asked you a bunch of advice, and it's been way helpful so far. And that's the first question that comes to my mind is like, you know, within 5 weeks you had made enough money to like pay back your dad. Like, how did you get that many people kind of top of funnel coming into the store? You know,
and that's one of the reasons I was super interested in Crumbl, is because I knew Sawyer really well, and he had a really big following on Instagram. He was a really good marketer. He just had this knack, like, he just could create a good brand. I mean, even in college, he had, like, for himself, he like created a brand for himself. Everyone knew who he was. Yeah. And then when I met Jason as well, his partner, he was also into marketing. So they both had this marketing background, and they had this product that was really good. Yeah. And it was great, and it was simple. And so I needed 1,200 square feet. My rent was cheap. My labor was cheap. And at the time, I mean, it didn't cost us a lot to get it open. All the equipment that we got was used stuff, and I did a lot of the build. So,
and you were basically the first franchisee. So you were just like, it was Probably your fee wasn't super heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was all a learning curve for them, and so
Right.
there were some benefits that I had being early on, but it was just the simplicity of it to keep that we were able to keep our fixed costs really low
Mm-hmm.
and labor really low, that we were so profitable.
Yeah.
And obviously, I wasn't getting paid, and I was working 80 to 100 hours a week
What do you think
in
your
the early
profit
stage.
margins were out of the gates
I
on that
mean,
deal?
I think our first like 3 months, we were between like 40 and 50%.
Oh my gosh.
It was,
After paying the franchise fee and
yeah,
stuff?
that's
Like
how,
net
yes,
40, 50.
yeah,
Yeah, that's insane.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was
that's crazy.
wild.
So, okay, so obviously, like, I mean, if I'm in your dad's shoes right there, I'm like saying the same thing. Like a couple months in, you're like, yeah, let's double the freak down, you know?
Yeah.
What were you in that same mindset? Like, how'd you get the guts to, I mean, there's some bets that are easier to make than others that felt a little bit probably like a pretty sure bet, but, yeah, like you grew and scaled really fast and rode that wave, and it takes guts to do that, right? Like you could get complacent and say, we have this one store that's printing money, could be a cool little lifestyle business, let's just keep doing this. But like, how did you have the foresight to double down, and what happened after that first one, I guess? Keep going.
Yeah. So, my dad was like, yeah, let's do some more. And that was kind of what I kind of, I talked to Sawyer and said I wanted to do one store, but my vision was I want to have multiple. And I've looked into a lot of other franchises since Crumbl, and that's always kind of the key, is to have more than one location so you can have economies of scale. So
Yeah.
if you have 5 stores and you have 2 of them that struggle, but 3 of them do well, you can make good money.
Yeah.
And after that first one, I mean, my mind was like, no store is going to be bad, right?
Yeah.
And that's where I'm really glad I had my dad, because he was always thinking about the future. He's like, well, what about in 5 years from now? What if this Crumbl, maybe it's a fad, maybe it's not. What if it starts to slow down?
Right.
And that's why I really appreciate having my dad like with me during that time, because every decision we made when it came to signing leases, the spots we were picking, we were very calculated, because the reason our first store did well is our fixed costs were so low. Our rent for that Conwood Heights store was like $2,300 a month.
Yeah.
And we'd do in sales in one day, we'd pay our rent. And so it was like, and that was kind of our goal. We were like, we want to, whenever our rent is, we want to be able to, like with 1 day's worth of sales, we want to be able to pay rent, 1 or 2 days worth. And so we grew really fast, but we found the right spots. After my first like 3 months of running the store, I started to figure out how to find a team, and I got really good people. And that's what allowed me to grow, was the people that I had on my team. And I still have, we opened in 2018, now it's 2026. So I still have employees from 9 years ago that still work for me.
Yeah.
And so having a team that I trusted that could work hard was everything.
That's sweet. So I would imagine to scale, like to have one, you can work in the business a lot, right? You could be there 8 a.m. to 12 and managing all these high school girls and boys. But like to scale, it takes like this work on the business type of thing, right? And there's probably a combo of the two as you scaled up. I know your role was pretty active in your and your dad's partnership, but maybe just talk about that shift to working on the business and kind of what you had to learn there to hire a team, build it out, and get the thing kind of like winning whether you were in it or not.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. So I was, like you said, I kind of was the operations guy of this whole thing. My dad was doing the back office numbers side of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when it came time to open our second store, about 6 weeks before that, I kind of had planned, like, when that store opens, I will be there 80 hours a week, and I need to have my first store under control. So
yeah, got it.
About 2 months, 6 weeks before the opening of that one, I really honed down on training, and I had like a manager and then 3 different shift leads, and I just worked with them a lot to make sure that everything would run smoothly when I wasn't going to be there.
So what I'm hearing is like when you would be opening, and when you knew you had a new one opening, you would get really intentional with like pouring into the key people, the key leaders in the one that you were going to be like removing yourself from a little bit more, right?
Yeah. And I didn't want anyone to have to work 80 hours a week at one store. I tried to have, and I wanted to pay people really well.
Yeah.
And I always, like, the leaders, the people I trusted the most, we were really okay with paying them what they felt like they deserved and what they're working for.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have them a little bit. I mean, it's Crumbl, it's a food business, it's open late. So I wanted them to have a work-life balance, even though that's hard in the food industry. And so the pay, I tried to make sure they were paid well and that they had good support around them, that the 3 or 4 people could make sure that they all weren't getting burnt out after a month.
Yeah.
And that they could run the store without me, even though I was there to help and answer any questions and I could go to the store if I needed. They were totally prepared.
How'd you set it up structurally? So was there like a store manager that you kind of had one key person over a couple by the time you were really scaling it out, or did you have a couple per store? Or how did you structure that?
It just changed as time went on. When I was opening my second one, I had one person in charge of the first one. And then after the first 2, I kind of was like, oh, the manager of my first was really good, and she could probably do both.
2, yeah.
And so,
Got it.
Over time, as we opened the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, which we did in a year, which was really fast and kind of crazy, you just, as you're hiring so many people, you just get to know some really good talent, and kind of where your stores are located, you can just kind of determine like, oh, this person's really good and they easily can make their way to these 2 stores. So I'm going to have them run 2 stores. Or if I have someone that's super eager and wants to run 3 stores or 4 stores and they're really good, then I can have them do that. So
yeah,
it was kind of always evolving. I mean, in food, you have a lot of turnover. And so
were most of your employees that are doing kind of the lower level work, are they mainly high school kids?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, even some of our shift leads we had, it's kind of crazy because even high school kids can be some of your best workers. They just don't have the best availability, but like a lot of my high school kids were really good leaders and like could run a shift.
That's really cool.
Really good.
Even one of the beauties of Crumbl, and this is why, like literally the story of the Quick Greens thing for me is when I was driving through the drive-thru for like the 4th time in a month, because I was like becoming their best customer. I was just eating there all the time, you know? The thing that literally came to my brain is like, this feels like the Crumbl cookie of healthy food. Like and the reason I say that is like the simplicity.
Yeah.
Like I think the reason why a high school kid can win being a leader in your model is because I've been to a Crumbl a bunch of times, and it's like, it's just so simple. Walk in, iPad, press a couple buttons. There's a couple kids back there that have all these machines that basically do all this stuff for them. And really at that point, like it's like a person that's managing a couple other people in a really simple, environment, I guess. So that's one of the cool, I think that, whatever thing you're betting on, like simplicity is beautiful. And I think that's one of the really neat things about Crumbl. And that's why it's scaled to over 1,000 units is the simplicity,
Yeah. And I will say over time, working at Crumbl has gotten a lot harder.
More complex.
I mean, just as they've grown and they've had to change up a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to just have 4 cookies and they didn't have a bunch of toppings on them that you had to decorate.
Yeah.
And so, and you also like think how many food places have a rotating menu? Like
that's
every
true.
week
Good
we're
point.
having to
Good point.
order different ingredients and try and manage like our costs. Like if we buy too many ingredients for a cookie that doesn't sell, we have all this ingredient that's sitting there. And so
I don't want to get you in trouble on this, but do you think they're getting too cute kind of with that? Or what would your honest opinion be?
They do a good job at, they like to try stuff. And I think I like that.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, they know.
Yeah.
And so they stop it. And so I think every business is important to try new things, and the things that work, we continue to do. And the things that don't, they shut it out. So at times it can be hard, because you test something, you put a lot of effort, time, labor, ingredient into it, and then it doesn't work out, and you're just like, man, that sucked.
Yeah.
And other times it kills it, and you run out of the ingredient, and you're like, when can we run that cookie again?
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
but it's kind of, it started so simple, but the nice thing is as I kind of grew and opened more stores, I had these teams that kind of grew from the really simple days to where it gets more complicated, but having them be there through all of that and being able to pay them and take care of those employees all through that makes them want to stay. And
yeah, that makes sense.
Like
so your people, you're saying, kind of got training in the simple stages, and now they've built the muscle.
Yeah.
And so like you probably more than some of the other franchisees, like their current model might be a little bit more unforgiving to a new franchisee, but like your group, your team has kind of built the muscle. They're very skilled.
Yeah.
Good systems that you've put in place. And so you're willing, you're able to kind of adapt and,
It's just nice to have people that have gone through it. I mean,
100%.
new franchisees can figure it out. It's harder.
Yeah.
And corporate does a really good job at making sure everyone's trained and stuff.
Sure.
But
yeah.
just having that experience from the early days and through all those changes is super helpful.
One question, you've already kind of spoken to this, but I just love this idea that like in any industry that you play in, whether it's cookies, other food, pest control in my case, whatever, that people are like they're like, you will live or die by like the quality of people you attract and the culture that you create around them. So maybe just speak to, like I think of this like equation of like people over cookies, like the people piece is like way more important than like the widget or like the product itself.
Yeah.
Like, what you've already shared a couple thoughts, but just like what worked in general in terms of like helping you attract the right people.
Yeah. I mean, from the very beginning, when I was operating and working with my dad, we always tried to compare ourselves to how like Chick-fil-A does things, just with how they like treat their customers and their employees. Like if you go to Chick-fil-A, everyone seems happy.
Yeah.
And you're welcomed, and you usually have a good experience. And so that was our number one thing. And the number one thing I tried to train on was, and I love doing, like when I worked at that first store, I loved being at like the front and just welcoming people, taking their orders, talking with them.
Right.
And so that was like my main emphasis, and still continues to be this day, is make sure that everyone that comes into the store has a really good experience. And that stems from you being happy and you having a good attitude. And so as I trained my managers and my area managers, that was like the number one thing. Like, you got to come to work and you have to be the happiest person there, because everyone's going to have a hard day. Everyone's not going to want to come into work, even you, but you got to fake it.
Yep.
Even if you got to fake it for 8 hours, you got to be the happiest person you can be.
I love that.
Because you're going to have a ripple effect on all these high school kids or these college kids that only work 15 hours a week here. But if you're happy, they're going to be happy, and our customers are going to be happy, and they'll
I love that. I mean, like you're having all these little micro exchanges with customers all day long, and like you have a chance to like transfer positive, happy energy to people a zillion times a day. And also in your case, like your product itself, like that's kind of what I think of when I think of Crumbl. It's like people give it for gifts.
Yeah.
It's got this like, let me brighten your day component to the product itself. So if the people aren't aligned with that, then like that would be a pretty big no-no, you know? So I think that's huge. I think I always tell my sales reps and people that work with me, like the first sale of the day is yourself. Yeah. And so to your point, like if you're not feeling it, it's like, well, find a way to feel it, dude, because whether you're selling door to door, whether you're like having an interaction at the front counter of a cookie shop, like your attitude matters a ton. Yeah. And it's like a big part of a purchase decision for a customer, regardless of what they're buying. People are so important. And, I'll have people all the time be like, how's pest control? And I'm like, dude, I'm in the people business, like if my people aren't happy and kind of like, we don't have high standards, like the Chick-fil-A idea. Like I love that. I think that that's what makes them so amazing as a
Yeah.
franchise. Those guys do like $7 million per store.
Yeah.
I just found that out as I've been doing due diligence on this Quick Greens thing. I'm like, geez, dude, how do we all get to that spot? But to your point, it's like amazing product, but also when you go there, you just know I'm not gonna get my order taken by some dud that
Yeah.
like ruins my day. Like
Yeah.
ever. I've never had that happen at a Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're fast.
Yes.
Gotta have the product, good product, happy people. And if you're fast,
Yeah.
that's what people want these
100%.
days.
Yeah.
So,
Tell me about the pros of doing a franchise and the cons.
that's a good question. So, yeah, I mean, the pros are you're taking a little bit of risk out of it, but you still get to kind of start your own business. And so when Sawyer started Crumbl, I mean, he took all the risk in opening the first one and kind of trying to create this business that he didn't know was going to work.
Yeah.
I got to see it. I got to see the store open for a month, and I got to see the lines of people. And so for me, it was a pretty easy decision. Like, yeah, I want to do this. This concept works. But had I not seen that, I don't know how. And just like when I talked to people that I needed money, like they're like, they didn't believe in the concept. And it's hard to think back because you're like, well, Crumbl's huge now. And obviously the concept works. But back then, I talked to so many people and they're like, you're going to deliver, you're going to have big cookies and you're going to deliver them. Like, I don't know about that. So being a franchisee, you take some risk. You also get the benefit of working with corporate who can do a lot of stuff for you, whether it's marketing, building a brand, running their Instagram account, whatever it is. You're not having to do with all that corporate stuff. You're just kind of working in your small space in the business. And so a lot of the stresses that maybe you don't fully understand or know how to do, you don't have to deal with it.
Yeah, that's
and you
nice.
can kind of focus in on your operations and your profitability. And so those are kind of that's what I would say are the pros. The cons are you don't have as much control. And so if you have a good idea or you don't like something that is going on at corporate that you have to do, there's not a lot of wiggle room. And you'll sign a big agreement that says you got to follow all these.
Stand in line a little bit.
Yeah. You got to, all these standards we have, all these changes we make. If we want to make you order from here, you have to. If we want to make you order from us, you have to, and we can mark up. Like you just.
Feels like it takes away the upside a little bit too, right? Obviously, you have fees, so there is less margin potentially on the table because you're paying them usually a monthly. Like if you're doing a franchise, you're paying them a little royalty fee. There's some startup cost that goes directly, and
that's why all those pros you're paying for all the pros. I mean that's why
which is probably the con is that like all those pros that you just mentioned, you're paying for in a fee every month. And I love your thought of like, usually if you're a franchisee, there's less creative control. You can't go do some innovative, like wake up one morning and just say like, I'm going to actually like bolt on some new offering to this thing.
Yeah.
Cause like you'd have to go get the okay from the daddy at corporate, like, so yeah.
And the biggest and the hardest kind of separation between a franchisee and a franchisor is the franchisor is always worried about that top dollar.
Top line revenue.
Top line, because that's where they get their fees.
Yeah.
It's
that's
not
the only place they get their fees. Like that's the main thing is they just collect a percentage of your revenue.
So
they're really not tied to how profitable you are.
Correct.
Yeah.
So sales are the number one driver in profitability. If you have high sales, you're going to be okay.
Right.
And so and so that's good that they're driving sales, but at what cost sometimes is your biggest worry.
Yeah.
And the biggest one is they're going to want to open as many stores as possible, and you may not want to open as many stores as they want you to.
Yeah, because your biggest competitor can become the Crumbl that's just down the road.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's happened. I mean,
Yeah, of course.
I've stores have had to shut down, and
Yeah.
it just Crumbl has become Crumbl's biggest competitor. I mean,
Right. That makes
there's
sense.
been a lot of other cookie shops that have opened up, but
Yeah.
none of them have had the effect that another Crumbl store has 15 or 20 minutes down the
So
road.
they've
From a
squeezed
different
out
one.
all the other competition externally, but even but also internally,
Yeah.
you feel the pinch of like, hey, congrats, you're a franchisee down the road. Like that's
Yeah.
awesome for you, dude. That's gonna take business from me because at some point, like people pass through a zip code looking for a Crumbl cookie, and like now they're choosing between multiple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so which probably takes to another just thing to think about in terms of a strategy is just making sure that geographically you're kind of like setting yourself up to not get squeezed too much
Yeah.
in terms of like where they're at, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that type of stuff's on my mind big time with this quick rinse thing because we're going to Harriman, which I think is total blue ocean, young families. I think it's gonna crush.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, 2 years down the road, if it crushes, like stay out of Harriman, like
Exactly.
I don't want.
And that
Yeah.
and that's what you got to think. I mean, when we were doing this and trying to figure out where we're going to put locations, our strategy was let's look at In-N-Out and let's look at Chick-fil-A. The hard part with Crumbl is you can eat at In-N-Out and Chick-fil-A every day. I mean, you could get breakfast, you can get lunch, you can get dinner.
Right.
But you're eating cookies. You're not eating cookies every single day.
Good point. Yeah.
Even I was like, well, I think that there should be more distance between Crumbles than there are between like In-N-Outs and Chick-fil-A's. But if you kind of take that approach where you know these concepts always have lines and are always busy.
Yeah.
Well, look how spaced out they are compared to some of these other businesses. And
do you think that's being driven by a franchisor? Like they're just kind of getting a little greedy in terms of overreaching in a lot of these businesses' cases?
A lot of it is. I also think like during the excitement of Crumbl when everyone was just printing money, it was like, I want to open as many of these as I can.
Yeah.
And so the franchisor is typically driving it. But when you have a business that's really cranking, then it's hard for the franchisee to step back and think, what's it going to look like in 5 or 10 years?
It's like that. It's a little bit of the pride cycle thing going on where like, it's like real estate a couple years ago when like everything you bought went to the moon, and then things shift like fast. They can shift fast, because from what I've heard, like a lot of the Crumbls nowadays, like you have to be a pretty dang good operator to go make some good money with it, like, so there's just waves is all I'm saying. Right. Yeah.
And I would way rather have one store that does $6,000 in sales in a day than have two stores that do like 3,200 or 3,500 in a day, because it's easier to be profitable with one store that's
less units, more margin. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's awesome. That's super helpful. Anything else that you would just share about the Crumbl experience or things that you've learned, or like if you could go back and talk to yourself when you were, starting your first one, like what are some last little nuggets, and then we'll shift gears?
Yeah. One is the people in the Midwest love food and cookies.
If someone's going to franchise, maybe look at some of these obese.
If I were to do a food concept again, I would want to go to the Midwest. Our Indiana stores, Ohio stores, they're busy. The other thing is it's hard to do business in California. And I heard that a lot from people. Yeah. But actually being there and doing it, it's hard. And there's
super regulated, high rents.
Very employee friendly, which is, I like it, but it's also hard when employees know that and they know they can get away with stuff and can kind of go after you for not a lot.
That makes sense.
And Utah is also a really great place to run a business.
Yeah.
Utah is a great place to run a business. And then the Midwest, man.
Yeah.
Rent's cheap.
Utah's interesting though, dude, because it depends on like Utah's a unique beast. Like if the product fit is correct, I think Utah is like the best place to be in business. But also we're kind of cheap. Yep. And like in my world in
Yeah.
door to door, everyone already has a son that's in door to door.
Yeah.
So like knocking doors in Utah actually can be pretty
I
unforgiving,
can see that.
you
Yeah.
know? So
It's
Utah's
crazy.
an interesting beast. I think the product market fit matters a lot. We love our food in Utah.
Yep.
We have our little kind of like vices because we don't drink, and
Yeah.
so I mean, you guys
It's
rode that
true.
wave with cookies. Like there's just the product market fit. But I agree. Like if you hit that, the economy here is booming, and it's a beautiful place to
Yeah.
be in business. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Well, going forward in your life, like what has you excited? I've always admired, dude, even from like, growing up with you, like you've just always been such a good person, faithful, um, active in the LDS church. Like just I feel like you just you live a really good life. What has you excited going forward in life? You've made a ton of money. I'm not going to announce how well it's done, but people can imagine with having 20 plus stores. So you've crushed it. You're in your early 30s. Like what has you excited? We can go down the family route, faith route, more work route. Like what just kind of has you excited going forward?
Yeah. Um, I think my family's like the thing I'm most excited for.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in a pretty big family and I I loved it. And so I've got 3 kids, want to have a few more.
Cool.
But just and I love that early on I was able to luck into this, work on this Crumbl thing that
Yeah.
has been such a blessing in my life, and it worked out so well and got me to places at this young age that I'm really grateful for. And so like being able to watch my kids grow up and go to their practices and be as big of a part of their lives as I can be
Yeah.
is what makes me really excited. Um,
I love that.
Obviously, I don't want to just sit around and not have any job. I mean, I still have my 8 stores. I don't do the day-to-day stuff as much anymore. But got into real estate a little bit. I continue to look at different franchise opportunities, just any type of business opportunities. But
I love that.
I do want to keep, I don't need millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Right.
I value just being able to have as much time, especially being able to have time when you're young and when your kids are young is a really cool thing. And so
I think like a need to not want to, or want to not need to thing is a really cool position to be in, right? And I think there's a lot of my listeners are in their early 20s and like they're just kind of like on that they're in the first or second inning in their game in terms of just like going and trying to have some success so that they can be in a position like
Yeah.
you're in their early 30s, And I think that man, I personally am like I always will work because I just love it. Like it's a game and a sport, and
Yep.
like it makes me excited to get up in the morning and go pursue something. But I think it's really powerful to have won the game as early in life as possible. Like I would argue you won the game or you're winning the game by a lot in the second quarter or whatever. And so like the third and fourth quarter could look really different for you,
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you'll stop working, but it just means that you don't need to, but you can, And so I think it's cool because like you can say yes to a lot of your kids' things and the things that like fill your cup, and you don't have to say yes to the work things that you just don't want to do. And I think that that's what people should strive at a young age to get into that position in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, growing up, I look at my dad and he was like a perfect example. I mean, he worked his butt off, and I feel like I learned a lot from
Yeah.
like just having the drive and the passion to work and to provide for your family. So I don't want my kids to think that their dad doesn't do anything.
Right.
Like I do want to work. I mean,
Right.
I always want to have something I'm busy working on.
Yeah.
But I want to have the flexibility to be able to go to all their practices.
Yeah.
If I can and if I have time
love that.
to. And so just having the balance of
Yeah.
you work hard, but you also have the flexibility to do important stuff with your family and
Yeah.
your kids.
Yeah, I think having options, and again, just like being able to be in a position where you're like a sovereign person that can say yes and no to the things that you want to. Because I would say that that is not super normal. Most people have to say yes to things, to a lot of things every day that they don't want to, pretty deep into their life.
Yeah.
And I think it's sad, and it's not something that I want in my life. So I think, and I know you worked, watching from my vantage point, like you worked a lot in your 20s and really grinded and put your head down. So one of my favorite quotes is like, live the first 10 years of your career like others won't, so that you can live the rest of your life like others can't. And I think that that's kind of what you're, rocking with currently, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
I actually want to bounce back. I have one last kind of question around franchising and just your experience, and then we'll wrap up with one or two more questions. But what should people look for, in business opportunities? Like, again, knowing that my audience is kind of a lot of guys that are entrepreneurial minded, whether it's in a franchise or not franchise, like, I don't know, like what advice, what should people be looking for in terms of opportunities? Because I think, some people could call you lucky, but like, dude, there's a zillion people that I know that probably were roommates with some person that ended up being successful at some point. And most of those people can't say that they themselves also rode that, like that they became successful, right? Like there was an opportunity at some point and your paths crossed and you took advantage of it. So I think you probably have this underrated gift of like seeing an opportunity and freaking like sending it. And so I'd love for you to just speak to like what should people be looking for?
Yeah. So kind of going back to when you were talking about, even in sales, it's a people business. And I was lucky enough to know Sawyer for many years before he started this. And I think that was one of the biggest advantages that I had. He was a successful guy.
Yeah.
Everything he did, he worked his butt off and he made it work. And so just knowing that gave me confidence. Like, I know this guy's going to do everything he can to make this business work.
So it seems like you made a bet not on, I mean, it was kind of on cookies, but like it was really a bet on this kid has a lot of momentum and like whatever he touches, like this thing's going to work out. And it's almost like that was very much priced into the bet that you made.
Oh yeah, totally. And I mean, obviously, especially in food, if you're going to sell food and you're going to get into a food business, you have to believe in the product.
Right.
And it's got to be a good product. But if you can get to know the people that are running the business, and it's a lot harder if you don't already know them. If you're just coming from the outside and just doing an interview with them, you're never going to get to know them really well. But that would be my biggest advice, is to just try to get to know and understand who the people are that are running the business.
Yeah, I love that.
As much as you can. Because if you have faith, if you trust them, then I think it even makes you more excited and gives you more want to make something work, because you know this person. And
again, I think it's a superpower, like knowing what wagon to hitch yourself to.
Yeah,
like I really do think that that's like a gift. Like some people would call it luck. I think it's like a straight up like there's a gift that some people have to like hitch their self to the right wagon. There's a lot of people that could that I think of that are our age that have become successful because I don't think rode coattails is the right word, but it's just like they found another person that had momentum and they just said, I want to get a part. I need a piece of that. Like I need to ride that wave with that person. And then you go catch massive success. And then all of a sudden now you're 30 and you are the successful one. I don't think we have to like start at zero and just like out of our bedroom create some, in isolation, create some idea or some momentum. Like there's a lot of really cool people that are up to really cool things. And if you'll go network and put yourself out there, momentum it can really be everything. And there's people that have existing businesses that already have traction, like you said, and go ask them questions. I'm the first franchisee with this Quick Greens thing, and it all started by just me like networking. Like I'd send them a message on LinkedIn and just ask some questions, and then all of a sudden it turned into a thing, and so shoot your shot, get to know people.
The funny thing, like even how I met Sawyer, then thanks to my mission, because before my mission, I probably would have never done this. But
Yeah,
I didn't know Sawyer going in when like my first year back after my mission at Utah State. I didn't know who Sawyer was. I saw him leaving somewhere, some girl's house we were going to see, and because of that, he like messaged me on Facebook. Still, like, but barely said any words to me. He was like, "Hey, do you want to help me with my campaign?" And I was like, well, I need to get involved. I need to get to know people. And I said yes. And that's how I gained a relationship with him.
Wow, that's
was
cool.
Just
yeah.
That he's like, come be on my campaign. I was like, yeah, I want to get to know people.
So you added value to something that you really didn't have like a ton of upside in, or like selfish, like there wasn't like massive benefit for you, but you just went and added value for a person, created a relationship. You know, and then like I just feel like goodwill and adding value without some agenda usually does turn into like an opportunity. It's just like it seems like that's a theme in life, you know.
For sure.
And I guess my last thought on the franchise thing, and then we'll close up, is like I think it's neat because, you know, I'm an owner in a pest company right now. Getting from zero, and we started this thing from scratch. We had our existing sales force so we had a sales entity that was amazing and blown up, but like we started the pest company with 0 customers in the Midwest actually. Mm-hmm. And I'll just say this, like going from 0 to anything is like the heaviest lift in the world. Like it's so much work, you know.
Yep.
It's taken us 5 years to get from 0 to like 15-16 million bucks in annual recurring revenue. And it's been like, it's taken so much work because when you start, you have 0 customers, 0 reviews, 0 marketing, 0 reputation, 0 people. Like, it's just like, there's no brand recognition, nothing, you know?
Yeah.
And now I would argue for our business, like for us to go from 15 to 30 will be like way easier, you know, because it's just like the freaking snowball's finally moving down the hill. But to your point, like one of the coolest things about franchising is when you start, you're not starting at 0.
No.
Like you're starting with an existing concept. You were able to watch those guys all on the line. You probably even knew a little bit about his financials. Like, you know, this guy's making money hand over fist. Like, so if I do this here, like, I mean, same products, people like cookies, boom, let's go. Mm-hmm. So I think that's in my opinion, the coolest thing about franchising. And there's pros and cons, and like not everyone listening to this will end up wanting to go that route. But I did hear recently in an interview, and I think the algorithm is kind of like pushing this stuff to me because it knows like what I'm kind of doing. But more millionaires have been made through franchising than in any other industry in America. Like it is a really bulletproof, cool way to make, you know, to create some wealth.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, dude, I admire what you've done. I think it's so dang cool. And it's been funny, like from afar, really neat from afar. Like there's just been this like whisper throughout our high school friend group, like Spencer's doing cookies. Like, what's he doing? And then every year it got like cooler and cooler. Like at first it was like, why is Spencer opening a cookie store? And then like 5 years in, like, dude, Spencer owns like a lot of cookie stores. And then now it's like, Spencer just sold his cookie stores for a ton of money, and like all these like sophisticated private equity people are buying these stores, so it must have been a big number, you know. So it's really cool. Yeah, I'm impressed, dude.
It was a good time. It was a crazy time of life. Luckily, during the building phase, I wasn't married for the first year.
Yeah, that helps.
So I just could just work there.
Yeah,
and I didn't have a wife yelling at me.
Well, being single for a season can have its upsides, you know. So I think that people should leverage that when they are in that window. But cool, bro. Well, thank you for coming on, man. I'm excited to hopefully reconnect and staying close, and really admire just kind of like not just what you've done there, but just in your life in general, and trying to win at all the important things, you know. So anyway, stoked to watch the Cougs win a lot of football games this year.
Yeah, and they're gonna beat the Utes again.
Yeah, they are, dude.
4 years.
Yep, we should go. Are you going to the Rice-Eccles game? Maybe.
I don't know. It's a little stressful.
Yeah, it is kind of a high anxiety. You feel like you're like.
I was in Provo last. Did you go to the game last year?
I did.
In Provo.
Yeah, I did. It was fun.
Oh, it was a good.
Yeah, that was a great game. Yeah, I went with my dad. It was a good time. Yeah, going at the U is a little bit scary, dude. You feel like you're like you're gonna get shot dead or something.
Yeah. Scared to wear blue.
Yeah. But anyway, cool. Well, thanks for coming on, dude. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. We'll catch you guys on the next one.